Okay, for this video, we are going to be reviewing several demonstrations by Bob Pruffelder, who's an elementary school teacher, and here he appears on Jimmy Kimmel. So we'll give it a start, and then we'll start reviewing.
He is an elementary school teacher who understands that the keys to getting kids excited about learning are patience, enthusiasm, and lots of explosives. He is the author of the Nick and Tesla Science Adventure books. Please welcome Science Bob Pruffelder.
Flugfelder is a great science name. That's good stuff.
Well, look at that. You got a bunch of stuff again, and we're gonna, by the way, since the last time I saw you, you got invited to the White House.
White House Science Fair. Yeah, what an amazing event. You got.
We're going to jump ahead a little bit.
Light travels, but it travels at different speeds. Travels very fast, but it travels at different speeds through different objects.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I had no idea.
Yeah, so it'll travel through air at one speed. It'll travel through glass at another speed, plastic another speed.
What if it travels to Hawaii? Is that a totally different
It
speed?
can do that.
So this is good. He goes on and talks about how the speed of light changes based on the medium. Jimmy Kimmel cracks some jokes as he goes. What I think is interesting is they start here with this little Pyrex tube filled with air and then water, submerged in water. And what Kimmel responds is that this is kind of boring, which I think is neat because it is. It doesn't look very exciting. And then they slowly kind of scale things up and make things a little bit more interesting. So it's good showmanship. So here it is. Oh, wow, who really cares that you can see the tube inside the water? And then when you fill it with water, you can still see it, but perhaps a little bit less. And that all, again, has to do with the speed of light traveling through the different media. So you see it behaving differently. So again, nothing terribly exciting here. And then as they work their way up, they move over to this next tub. And they do the same thing, but in the cooking oil. So they prep themselves here, and they put the tube in the larger aquarium full of cooking oil. And in this case, you can see it when the air is there, but then there's this neat reveal. And I think sometimes one of the best parts about science demos are these big, unexpected reveals like this. So here, of course, with the air inside the tube, you can see it just fine. And then when he submerges it and fills it with cooking oil, it effectively disappears from view. So that's a really neat demonstration. And this is where you get those aha moments that we're always looking for out of our kids that engage them and get them kind of connected. And this goes on, and he uses this contraption next door here and further demonstrates the same thing with a little bit more pizzazz. This whole thing is filled with cooking oil, and when Jimmy Kimmel blows into it, his air reveals this inner tube. And again, I think this is really neat stuff, and it's all showing the same concept. They go back to the original container and realize that there are things inside the container that the audience didn't see beforehand. Again, these really neat big reveals, I think, are good for a nice science demo. So from this, they move on to another demonstration where they talk about the things necessary for fire and the importance of oxygen. Let's give a quick listen.
Experiment. Now, we know, if you remember from middle school, you need three things for fire. You need fuel, you need heat, and you need
tequila.
And
you need oxygen.
You need oxygen.
Of course,
all right,
we all need that.
I've got a chemical in here. It's a very flammable chemical. It's called red phosphorus.
Okay.
We're going to burn that, and air is 20% oxygen. So we're going to see how it burns in 20% oxygen.
Okay.
These flasks, however, are filled with 100% oxygen.
Oh.
So what we're going to do is we're going to burn it, see what it looks like in 20% oxygen.
How'd you get it in there?
We used, it was kind of fun. We used liquid oxygen. We liquefied oxygen. We put it in there and let it vaporize.
Huh.
It was kind of fun.
Oh. This is how we have fun.
So we're going to get that burning, and then we're going to uncap it. We're going to turn it upside down and put it right over there.
All right, let's see the
difference. All right, got our goggles on.
Okay.
All right, get ready. Go ahead and light that.
All right.
There we go.
Oh.
All right, so there it's going. All right, remove the cap now over here. Ready?
Okay. Yeah.
And carefully flip it over.
Careful.
Right over there. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that.
Whoa.
So this stuff is great. Again, showing the importance of oxygen, and the visual effect is fantastic. They go on actually in this video and then do several other demonstrations of Tesla coils. Here's this whole thing with liquid methane and watching it burn. Big bang for your buck. You pour it on the floor and it lights up, and that's pretty neat. And then they go on to this stuff with Tesla coils and think it's ethanol inside, and they shoot these little film canisters up like rockets, and then they take it to a whole other level where they do the same thing with these spinning wheels. Here, we'll let Jimmy shoot these off like rockets. It's a big excitement. He comes up, boo, and shoots that off. And he does that a couple more times. And then they use these spinning wheels, and they do the same darn thing where they spin them and shoot these balls at each other, or these film canisters. So it's great. A lot of neat stuff in here. What I like about these demos is they're the big, high reveal, exciting to watch demonstrations, and those are always good. My criticism, or I guess my concern, obviously this is just a demo of demos, and you go on a late night talk show and show off science, and that of course is a good thing in and of its own right. But what I'll say is, from an instructional standpoint, this is pretty challenging. This is all pizzazz and very little content, and it also goes from one content to another to see if we can get things to explode or light on fire or look really cool. And I do see value in this in terms of engaging kids and getting them excited. It might be neat to show one of these clips when you're talking about the importance of, say, oxygen as a fuel source, or talking about the speed of light and how it travels different through media, perhaps in an astronomy class. But honestly, you could probably find videos that focus more in on those specific things. So these are great in the late night talk show sort of realm. And I think it's great to get people interested in science, but perhaps not quite as applicable in a traditional science classroom where you're trying to deliver content in a specific area. Good stuff.